Hi everyone, today we will present to you about the short story called The Necklace. But before we start, I would like to introduce you to our team member. First, we have NURUL SOFEA. The second one, we have NURUL AQILA. Third, we have AHMAD HAIQAL. Next, we have ZULHIR ALYSA. And the last one, we have FATIN MAISARAH. So these are the content of our presentation. First, we have introduction. The second one, we have the contrast between the characters. Third, we have the similarities between the characters. Fourth, we have how the characters represent themselves. Next, we have what the characters learn from the story. Lastly, we have the conclusion.
Okay, my name is NURUL SOFEA BINTI ZULHIR. So I will present the introduction for this short story. The Necklace is a short story by French writer Guy Maupassant. The story was first published on 17 February 1884 in the French newspaper Le Gaulois. The short story is a short story that revolves around Madame Mathilde Loisel, a woman who dreams of a luxurious life beyond her means. Dissatisfied with her modest experience, she yearns of wealth and social status. When her husband secures an invitation to a ball, Mathilde borrows a diamond necklace from a wealthy friend to adorn herself. At the ball, she enjoys a fleeting moment of glamour and admiration, but later she discovers that she has lost the borrowed necklace. Fearing consequences, she and her husband plunge into debt to replace it, only to discover years later that the original necklace was merely costume jewelry. The necklace explored themes of vanity, illusions, and consequences of pride, offering a powerful commentary on the human desire for material wealth and social standing. That's all from me. Next, I will pass to AQILA.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Thank you, NURUL SOFEA. My name is AQILA RAZAK, and I will be presenting about the contrasting characteristics of the two main characters, which is Mathilde Loisel and her husband, Monsieur Loisel. The necklace presents Madame Mathilde and her husband as characters with contrasting characteristics that play a crucial role in the story's development. For the first contrasting characteristic that can be seen is Mathilde Loisel's being so ambitious and dissatisfied as she dreams of a luxurious life and is dissatisfied with her middle-class lifestyle. While on the other hand, Monsieur Loisel is very practical and content. Unlike his wife, Monsieur is very content with their modest lifestyle and doesn't crave wealth or social status, as he is content with his current job, which is being a clerk. On to the next one. Mathilde is very materialistic, as she values wealth, status, and appearance, which leads her to borrow a costly necklace from her friend to wear to a party. And it can be seen when she demanded a really pricey dress from her husband. While in that, Monsieur is very selfless and supportive, as he goes to great lengths to make Mathilde happy, even sacrificing his savings to help replace the lost necklace. The last one is Mathilde is very impractical, as Mathilde focuses on appearances and dreams rather than practical considerations, such as the consequences of losing the borrowed necklace. As we all know, she and her husband ended up having to work so hard to pay for the necklace's interest, and as Contrasting to that, Monsieur is very realistic as he understands the importance of honesty and practicality, as opposed to Matilda's fantasies and desires for material wealth. So, in conclusion, this contrasting characteristic drive the plot forward as Matilda's obsession with status and appearance leads to their financial ruin, while Monsieur Loisel's practicality and humility are ultimately vindicated when they discover that the necklace was worthless. The story highlights how their differing traits influence their decisions and their life's outcomes. That is all for me, and I will pass the floor to Muhammad HAIQAL.
Thank you, AQILA, for the presentation earlier. So now I'm going to be presenting about the similarities between the two characters. So despite their differences, like AQILA mentioned earlier, Monsieur and Matilda share several similarities that are crucial to understanding their dynamics and the story's theme. So the first similarity is loving and dedicated. So both characters show a strong sense of dedication to each other. How? Like in page 2, Monsieur says, "Alright, I will give you 400 francs and try to have a pretty dress." So what does that mean? This line means that Monsieur Loisel's love and dedication to his wife, as he sacrifices his savings to make her happy, even though he saves his money to buy his personal belongings. So about Matilda, in page 5, the passage, she came to know what having housework meant, and the arduous cares of the kitchen. She washes the dishes using her rosy nails and the greasy pots and pans. She washed the dirty linen, the shirts and the dish cloths, which she dried upon a line. She carried the slopes down to the streets every morning and carried up the water, stopping for breath at every landing. And dressed like a woman of the people, she went to the fruiterer, the grocer, the butcher, her basket on her arm, bargaining, insulted, defending her miserable money sou by sou. Yes. So, in this passage, it tells us Matilda's love and dedication towards Monsieur by willingly doing gruesome tasks and sacrificing her pride and comfort. So the second similarities that Monsieur and Matilda have is that they are both ambitious person. So Matilda, like in page 1, the passage, she suffered ceaselessly, feeling herself born for all the delicacies and all the luxuries. This praise highlights Matilda's constant yearning and belief that she deserves a more luxurious and glamorous life, demonstrating her ambitious life. So her ambition is that she wants to be rich, she wants to be glamour, she wants that luxury in her life, even though she doesn't have that. So that's how she is ambitious. So on the other hand, for Monsieur, on page 4, he gave notes, took out ruinous obligations, dealt with usurers and all the rest of lenders. He compromised all the rest of his life, raised his signature without even knowing if he could meet it. So this passage demonstrates his ambitiousness to solve the problem of the lost necklace, even at a great personal and financial risk. So even though the action is risky for Monsieur, but he has this ambitious determination to solve the problem, which the lost necklace. So the third and last similarities of these both character is that they both demonstrate a capacity to adapt to their changing circumstances. So they can handle adaptability when their life changed. So like in page 5 where the passage say they dismissed their servant, they changed their lodgings, and they rented a garret under the roof. This passage shows how Matilda and Monsieur adapt to their reduced circumstances after years of hardship following the loss of necklace. Moving to a garret under the roof signifies their acceptance of a more modest living situation, reflecting Matilda's transformation from a woman yearning for luxury to one who embraces practicality and frugality in managing their household. So like they accept that the change in their life where they have to live a more like lower class life instead of luxury one. That is all about the presentation of similarities between Monsieur and Matilda. Now I will pass the presentation to ALYSA.
Thank you, HAIQAL. Moving on to the next part, I am going to explain to you how the characters represent themselves in the short story. First, the main character Matilda represents herself as someone who desires for wealth and status. For example, in the page 1 of the PDF, Matilda can see herself as deserving of finer things, and she believes that her beauty and charm should grant her access to a higher social stratum. And the second one would be when she sets herself up as someone who has vanity and pride, as she values external appearances and desires to be admired and envied by others. For example, on page 3, when she visits her friend Madame Forestier to borrow jewelry for a special occasion. And the third one, that she has a persuasion of herself. In the necklace page 3, Matilda can be seen convincing herself that she deserves to borrow a diamond necklace from her friend for a prestigious event to enhance her beauty and social standing for one evening. And the next point would be when Matilda represents ingratitude and dissatisfaction to her constant yearning for a life of luxury and her lack of appreciation for what she already has. An example of Matilda's ingratitude can be seen on page 2 when she reacts disdainfully to her husband's effort to secure an invitation to a prestigious event. Instead of being grateful for the opportunity, Matilda dismisses it and expresses frustration over not having anything to wear, highlighting her ungratitude back. And last but not least, in the necklace by Guy Maupassant, Matilda undergoes a transformation and a positive growth as a character that goes through the hardships that she faces after losing the borrowed necklace. An example of it can be observed on page 5 when she takes on the responsibility of repaying the debt by working tirelessly in menial jobs and enduring the hardships of poverty. And this experience of hardship and sacrifice leads Matilda to develop and learn the true meanings of humility, resilience, and the true meaning of happiness. And moving on to the next character, which can be called as Monsieur Loisel, the husband to the main character Matilda, he first represents himself as someone who has a sense of fulfillment through his dedication and sacrifice to help his wife. An example of it on page 4 can be found when he borrows money and deals with lenders to raise the funds needed to purchase a replacement necklace for Matilda. And the second point would be when Monsieur demonstrates an act of selflessness through his unwavering support and sacrifice for his wife. For example, on page 5 of the PDF, he stands by Matilda's side and supports her in repaying the debt that they incurred to replace the lost necklace. And the next, third one, can be seen when Monsieur exemplifies loyalty and reliability through his steadfast support and unwavering commitment to his wife. For example, on page 4, he is there on Matilda's side by searching for a replacement necklace after the original one is lost. And the next one, he portrays himself as a supportive and persistent husband through his unwavering dedication to help his wife. For example, on page 4 on PDF, he goes to a great length to search for the lost necklace, visiting various places and offering rewards in hope of recovering it. And last but not least, for the character Monsieur, when he displays mental toughness through his ability to remain composed and resolute in the face of adversity. An example of it on page 4 on PDF, when he suggests a plan to Matilda to deceive their friend about the lost necklace by pretending it is being repaired. And his ability to think rationally can come up with a plan in the midst of a crisis showcases his mental toughness and resilience in handling difficult circumstances. And that is all from me. I will pass the floor to FATIN MAISARAH.
Hi, my name is FATIN MAISARAH. Now I will explain to you about what the characters learn from story The Necklace. So now, let's start with the first character, which is Matilda Loisel. So for the first one, what the character learn is the danger of vanity and pride. So the danger of vanity and pride. So this is when Matilda wanted to borrow the necklace from Madame Fraser, which is her friend, because she wanted to appear wealthy and glamorous at the ball. So her vanity and pride lead her to borrow something that she cannot afford to lose. So the second one, we have the value of honesty. So this is when, instead of confessing the loss to Madame Frostier, which is her friends, Matilda and her husband decide to replace the necklace secretly. This decision leads to years of hardship, Matilda and her husband hardship, showing the consequences of not being honest. The last one, for Matilda Loisel, we have appreciation for what one has. This is when, after losing the necklace, Matilda and her husband endure 10 years of hard labor and poverty to repay the debt required to replace the necklace. So this experience teach Matilda to appreciate the simpler, more humble lives one she despised. Now we move on to the next character, which is Monsieur Loisel, which is Matilda's husband. So first, we have sacrifice and responsibility. In the story, when the narrator said he compromised the rest of his life, risked his signature without knowing if he could make it, and frightened by the troubles yet to come, by the black misery about to fall upon him, by the prospect of all the physical privation and moral torture he was to suffer, he went to get a new necklace. So, this is when Monsieur Loisel sacrifices his savings and takes on significant debt to replace the lost necklace. His action demonstrates his deep sense of responsibility and love for his wife. Lastly, we have the impact of choices. So when the narrator say he did borrow, asking 1,000 francs of one, 500 of another, 5 louis here, 3 louis there, he gave promissory notes, entered into ruinous agreements, dealt with usurers, and all the rest of lenders. So this is when the choice to replace the necklace without informing Madame Forestier leads to a decade of financial struggle. This show how a single decision influenced by societal pressure and pride and can have a long-lasting consequences. So now that's all from me. Thank you. I'll pass to the next presenter, which is Sophia.
Okay, thank you Fatin. Now I will present about the conclusion. In conclusion, Guy Maupassant, the writer of the necklace, served as a reminder of a pitfalls of vanity and consequences of desire for social status. Madame Mademoiselle's relentless yearning of a luxury leads her down a path of deception and eventual ruin. Here are some the moral values that we can get from the short story. First one is honesty and integrity. Madame Loisel's decision to hide the loss of the necklace and replace it with a new one leads to years of hardship and suffering. The story highlights the importance of honesty and integrity as the consequences of her deceit are served. Next one is social critique. Through the character of Madame Loisel, Maupassant critiques the societal pressures of values of his time, where appearance and social status often overshadows true worth and character. The story encourages reflection of the superficiality of societal norms and importance of defining one's own values. And the next one is society should not condemn people based on their outward appearance. This means our society should not condemn and critique other people because it can make other people become like Madame Mathilde Loisel, just want to become glam and the serious people in front of others. And that's all from us. Thank you.